Good morning. I would like to speak to a doctor to be assessed for ADHD.
This was me calling my doctor back in December 2021 for my assessment, and I was officially diagnosed with ADHD just several weeks later on the 5th of February through a 1 hour long assessment. Please stop it. Since my assessment, life has not been the same, and here's why. After already having to be isolating the first week of the year with my oldest kid tested positive for COVID, the first week of March my wife tested positive as well, and it was very tough. It was a very tough week for her as she was struggling with her breathing. For me it was so overwhelming as I was trying to care for my wife, get the little ones ready for school, drop them off, pick them up and try to get them to bed at a sensible hour. I was literally losing my mind with overwhelming emotions before I tested positive with COVID myself. In fact, all of us had COVID in the end, a family of 6 with COVID stuck at home. Thankfully, we're all better now and back to school, back to work. Not quite back to the old routine quite yet, but actually we are back to doing things is the point. The whole experience didn't give me a lot of room to think about my ADHD and start reading those books on ADHD and that were recommended to me after procrastinating in the month of February. I discovered this awesome charity called ADHD UK, who have been very helpful through the clinics via Zoom. And whilst I'm not a big fan of Facebook, I did join their group and the people have been very helpful. Go. One of my biggest questions I asked myself, knowing that ADHD doesn't get worse over time, was why I felt like my symptoms were getting worse. In very basic terms, my own words and understanding, because the stress I was experiencing, my body is somewhat in survival mode and is not able to compensate. With the diagnosis, I started thinking and analyzing a lot of the past. I began to think of how my hyperfocus was a contributing factor to our success in Bolivia, but also led to our downfall with no contingency plan in place. I've made a whole video series about it and will put a link in the description below if you're interested. I was recently asked what the ADHD diagnosis means to me, now that I know. When I posted my first video coming out with having ADHD and also my son being diagnosed with autism, I received several messages directing me to churches and pastors that have healed ADHD and autism through prayer. But it is not healing that I'm after, neither for myself nor my son. I know that I'm not perfect, but I do love myself. If my analyzing of all my past experience has taught me anything, it is that we were blessed with a superpower. I was ignorant to these superpowers, but now that I know, I want to read the manual to understand how I can be intentional with a superpower to achieve some groundbreaking stuff. I don't think we need a cure or more healing, but instead what we actually need is a better understanding and education on the topic for neurotypicals.
May I just ask that if you're finding this video useful, entertaining or anything else, that you hit that like button. I would greatly appreciate that.
I'm still struggling to own my ADHD completely, as I notice I'm still to conform with the society acting as normal,
Which is putting a lot of strain on me.
Letting myself go and being and feeling completely free is still a little bit of a struggle. At the same time, there are certain things that I need to get done, and I'm struggling with focus, such as delivering the final draft of my TEDx talk. My hyperfocus has been kind of in the way of that, I must admit, where my engagement has been anywhere but working on my script, causing me a real headache. Go! The frustration led me to post in the ADHD UK Facebook group about my challenge, asking for guidance and advice. The problem at hand is that I don't believe medication is necessarily the right route to go for me. But at the same time, counselling and coaching is not covered by the National Health Service in the UK, which I would be far more interested in. I do ask myself why everything has to be medicated away. I appreciate it might be cheaper, but does it address the issue? I only know for myself that I have never taken any kind of medication, but at the same time, drop it. But I have seen the side effects it has on others. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe in society we are too quick to just take pills for anything, that we could just adjust through our diet, for example. I have now started reading the books, attending the ADHD UK clinics and learning about myself and getting greater understanding about ADHD and how it affects me and those around me. It is not easy for anyone, but it is my hope that with greater education and understanding on invisible disabilities, people like my 4-year-old son will not have to feel the pressure to fit in as I and many others had to over the years. We don't need a cure, just to be understood.
If you want to find out what my process of getting my ADHD assessment and essentially my diagnosis was, you can check out this video right here. I hope to see you there, but in the meantime, remember to stay positive and motivated.